he stars in what's sure to be one of the year's biggest films, Spider-Man: No Way Home, which is set to release in theaters on December 17th. Tom Holland, welcome to the show.
Hello, mate. Thank you for having me.
And before we begin, one last time for season 16, how are you with spicy food? What's going through your head as we prepare to dig in?
I'm okay with spicy food. I mean, at Nando's, I'm a medium or a hot if I'm feeling adventurous. Extra hot is too far gone for me. So I think today is going to be rather brutal, and I think everyone will get to see a side to me that no one has ever seen before. Maybe I haven't even seen this side to me that's about to come out. But I'm very excited. I'm a huge fan of the show. It was actually my mate Twain a couple of years ago was like, you should do this show called Hot Ones. I was like, what's Hot Ones? He's like, oh, it's this show where you eat spicy chicken wings and you talk about stuff. I was like, that sounds so stupid. And then I watched the first episode. I watched Idris Elba, immediately was obsessed with your show, and have since then been a huge fan.
We're getting to learn about them behind the scenes. And today's guest is someone who I met just a few moments ago. I've been looking forward to this interview for a long, long time. I'm so glad to finally have him in the studio. And in the few moments I've spent with him, I can already tell that we're going to have a great conversation. Please welcome to On Purpose, Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc is one of the biggest names in global sport. Charles currently races in Formula One driving for the legendary Ferrari since 2019, the youngest driver in history to be signed up by the team. Charles features in the hit Netflix series Drive to Survive and is loved by fans and sports community alike for his positive mindset and determined, straightforward approach. Charles, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to finally meet you in person and to be here.
When I was researching, as I do for all my guests, I can listen to interviews, I'll read articles. You haven't done a lot of interviews. You don't talk so much about things publicly.
You are utter suffering even if good things happen. See, after years of looking at Ferrari's performance in Formula One, I can confidently say that Ferrari is a team of constant ups and downs. But as much as there are ups, the downs are the ones with the lasting effects, especially on their drivers. Felipe Massa looked like he was going to win in 2008 until a slow Glock got overtaken by Lewis Hamilton, making McLaren champions by a point. Result, Felipe's hairline was never the same again. Then Fernando Alonso won so many races in 2010 and 2012, but still lost both championships to Sebastian Vettel by at least 3 points. Result, Fernando's iconic stare of doom and despair. Then Sebastian Vettel joins Ferrari, had potential to win in 2017 and 2018, but as mistake after mistakes happened, he lost. Result, Sebastian was never the same again, and so was his hairline. Then Carlos Sainz joins the team, wins multiple races.
The gap was not there, right? And he's apologized to the team. But I'm interested to get your thoughts on this one, because if you contrast it with where George is, and I feel like George has got this no-nonsense, take no prisoners attitude these days, whereas Lando is clearly struggling up top. Now, I know for a fact that George has used a sports psychologist, and I think you've told me in the past that you've used one. Maybe I'm right in saying that, or am I wrong? You tell me. But it strikes me that when he's being coached over the radio by his race engineer, Will Joseph, in both qualifying and a little bit in the race, and you think it's mental errors that he's making, is this the kind of
From failing as a racing driver to forming his own team, all the way to leading Red Bull to 11 championships. So how exactly has he done this? Back when I was a bit younger, I actually even tested for Christian Horner on his way to F1, but we'll get back to that a little bit later. From a very early age, Christian Horner had a passion. He wanted to drive quickly, and this, coupled with his competitive nature, meant that it wasn't long before he was pestering his parents for a go-kart. And at the age of 12, his mum finally gave in and found a second-hand go-kart in a local Leamington Spa newspaper, where Christian grew up. He quickly went from driving it around their garden to heading to the local track at Shennington. I also did a lot of karting at Shennington, absolutely brilliant kart track, and it turned out he was quite good. He made it all the way to the World Karting Championships, and even though he might not look it, Christian is quite the athlete. He also competed tennis at Junior Wimbledon in his school years. This success in karting got the attention of the higher formula. At the time, Renault was looking to help young drivers move up the ranks, and they offered Horner a scholarship.
Why don't you kind of take us through what this week is going to entail for yourself?
You know, we receive the schedule like the week before, so we received our plan yesterday, and that kind of sets the tone for the week. You know, that's and mainly for us, it's about being on top of the schedule and plan and make sure that we know when to train, when to eat, when to arrive at the right location, etc. So it's a lot about kind of managing the schedule and the planning itself. So it's more like being on top of the schedule all the time.
I'd love to have you responsible for my schedule. Sounds great. Okay, we've got lots of questions in from people at home, so I'm going to try and intersperse some of those throughout this interview. But Erica would like to know, as a trainer, when do you get the most nervous? Piri, let's start with you.
I have to say, over the years, I get less and less nervous. I
realize people will never realize until it's too late.
Yeah, where would you like me to take you?
So we're going to the Bouverie Conference Hall. This is a major UK event organized by Britain's leading targeted individual, Kieran. It features other groups who are highlighting the abuse of covert technology.
Okay.
A lot of them complain about apparently finding things inside their bodies, like implants and bits of technology. What do you think?
I think it's a little bit of science fiction, and perhaps they've seen one or two Bourne trilogies too many.
Day one, take one. I'm standing here today because the person who should be standing here has been murdered. Max Spears was part of a program of extremely
feel like it's almost like, hey, like the reason why the Colts let him keep all the money, they're like, well, maybe he'll take a year off and he'll come back. I agree with Kevin. The fans have every right to be upset. It's weird that everyone is fighting this weird straw man on the internet being like, fuck you, Andrew Luck doesn't owe you anything. Of course, that's stating the obvious. Who the fuck?
Right.
Of course he doesn't technically owe us
but
anything.
I'm also going to be like, fuck,
Fans
you're bailing
can be
on
pissed.
us. Yeah.
Right.
I think he owes. I think he does though.
So here's the thing.
Because
with the 2 weeks
it's 2 weeks. You once you go in that deep.
Okay, but
you
here's
have to
the
play
thing.
that season.
Here's the only thing.
I'm sure people bought season tickets. I'm sure people committed to things.
Here's the only thing that makes me wonder if it was actually Irsay fucking that up, because it feels like Andrew Luck's been thinking about this for a while. Yeah. And did the Colts say, hey, why don't you think about it? Why don't we sell our season tickets? Why don't you think about it, hoping he would change?
We're getting to learn about them behind the scenes. And today's guest is someone who I met just a few moments ago. I've been looking forward to this interview for a long, long time. I'm so glad to finally have him in the studio. And in the few moments I've spent with him, I can already tell that we're going to have a great conversation. Please welcome to On Purpose, Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc is one of the biggest names in global sport. Charles currently races in Formula One driving for the legendary Ferrari since 2019, the youngest driver in history to be signed up by the team. Charles features in the hit Netflix series Drive to Survive and is loved by fans and sports community alike for his positive mindset and determined, straightforward approach. Charles, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to finally meet you in person and to be here.
When I was researching, as I do for all my guests, I can listen to interviews, I'll read articles. You haven't done a lot of interviews. You don't talk so much about things publicly. I was